Lawrence and I actually were literally just talking about you, the people that are here, early in both of our chats, and how great we think you are, because we consider you guys directly engaged with all of us. And engaged to me means you just like to hang out with us. And I like that a lot. So
nice to have online friends, huh?
Yeah, it is, actually. It really is.
Yeah, well, hello, everyone. Actually, so Bruce is a little under the weather right now. He usually introduces the podcast, which is why I'm going to ask him to do it again while he is sick, because
I'm ready.
This is another Platinum exclusive feature. You guys get to hear Congested Bruce introduce the podcast. Platinum feature. If you're not a Platinum listener, please turn the podcast off right now. Thank you.
All right, so I'm coming off of a NyQuil hangover. I believe that I have just a little bit of a sore throat, maybe some allergies. That's what's kind of holding me down. But nothing stops me from introducing Talk to the Internet number 55, which means I don't think we even realize this. We've done over a year of podcasts now. If we had been doing it weekly.
Yeah, if we had been doing it weekly, yeah.
Yeah, we would have done over a year now. And I think now that we passed 50, we got to go to 100. So we got to do it.
I think we have to. Yep, I think that Platinum viewers, damn it, the Platinum viewers, or the non-Platinum listeners, they'll have to get their information somewhere else. But that's an exclusive announcement for all of you. 100 years of... We're doing them once a year, Talk to the Internet.
That's
100,
right.
An entire century of online content. That's what we're promising right now.
Has anyone ever promised? I bet this has never. Well, this might have happened. Lawrence, let's promise to do this podcast on our deathbed.
Okay, sure.
From our deathbeds.
I don't see why not. There's no reason why. Yeah, that makes sense to me. What if we don't die at the same time, though? That'll be awkward.
That's okay. So whoever dies first will do the podcast from their deathbed.
Oh, okay. All right. And then does that wrap it for both of us? Do we have to commune with the spirits, get out a Ouija board, and Bruce, you're an expert on this matter right now, actually.
Expert is the wrong word, but yeah. Yes, I think if one of us dies early, like for example, let's say I'm dying earlier, and we do the podcast from my deathbed, that's it. It's done. We can wrap it there.
Okay. All right. How many people have died in the middle of a published podcast? Probably none.
Wait, I don't think that's ever happened, right? Has that ever happened, chat? There's no way.
Talk to the Internet original.
There's no way that's ever happened. No one's ever died in the middle of a podcast.
The only podcast brave enough to live stream the end. So it's there. That actually kind of hits on. I've been kind of. I guess this has happened for a long time, but it's sometimes a bit strange to me for people who make online content, the degree to which they'll kind of expose their life events to the internet or turn them into content. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So podcasting your own death feels like the most extreme version of living a life just to create online content.
I'm actually surprised that hasn't been done yet, to be honest with you. I feel like that there's going to be at some point, probably in the next 10 years. And we're not saying this is as I'm not trying to be morbid about it. It's more of just somebody agrees to the fact that they are on their deathbed and they will finish the podcast from their deathbed. I don't know. I would never do that, by the way. I would never actually do that. I would like to die with family and friends if possible. But,
So here's the thing, though, Bruce. By the time that we're on Talk to the Internet 100, the final podcast, AI and deep learning will probably have an optimal place to die in the podcast selected for you, so that maybe it's just after an ad break or something like that. You're just in your last death rattle, and there's an ad for Manscaped or whatever, and you've got to hang on until that podcast read is done, because the listeners are going to be really disappointed if your spirit escapes your body when they're talking about 30% off or excellent deals. Bread by mail or whatever the hell happens in the future.
Wow, that's really sad. That's a really sad thing to think about. I hope that never happens. I hope that nobody ever teases somebody's death and has to do an ad read and then they die after the ad read.
Well, we just came up with a really good Black Mirror episode, or maybe a new Twilight Zone episode. Dang it. Every video I play on, so Platinum exclusive again.
Oh, nice.
Little kvetching for me. Does anyone know how to mute a YouTube video before you play it? Because they keep trying to play these sick trailers on Reddit to entertain our fine audience, but they keep playing unmuted, and then there's a little stupid thing.
So I believe the shortcut around that is to mute the next video you play, and then every other YouTube video you play should be muted.
Should be. Oh, I can mute the tab. Now that's...
There you go.
Damn.
Now we're talking.
Hot.
Now we're talking.
Hot drops. Thank you, Mystic. Tab muted. Ain't no pro... Oh, now it's muted. No, whatever.
Unplug your headphones. Yeah, muting the browser. Muting the tab works. That's it. Nice job. Nice job, everybody.
Good moves. Good moves. Speaking of, hey, chat. How's it going? This is Talk to the Internet. We should be talking to y'all. Are you guys excited for episode 100?
When I die or whatever?
Bruce, I don't know that you're going to be the first to go out. I'm going to be real.
Well, Lawrence, hopefully neither one of us goes out in the next 40 years. Let's hope that happens. Let's hope you and I live till okay, you know what? Fine, fuck it. I'll talk about how I want to die. I want to die at 100. So I want to die basically like, I know it's like my last year, and I'm like, put me in a spaceship.
Okay.
And I want to die on the spaceship in space, and then they eject me out like Spock's corpse. That's what I would like. I would like to be shot into space, not ashes. I'm talking my body, shot into space. I forget who I was talking about with this, but I think if you shot a body into space, like ejected them out of the airlock, I feel like the body then just floats through space forever. I don't think it like breaks
or gets caught in a gravity well. Like it would eventually get sucked into a planet or a sun.
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
But it would just be a frozen hunk of ice flying through space at like 300,000 meters per second too, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Which means maybe it would collide with another spaceship in like 500 years because everyone forgot.
Oh, wow.
Space is big, but Bruce, imagine dying in 2199. Let's be generous. And they fire you into space. Your body hardens. You become like an icicle, like a comet, basically. And then 1,000 years in the future,
right?
There's a big party boat of a bunch of dumb glibglorbians partying with humans, and they're having a great space time, and you just fly through that ship like a railgun. It depressurizes and everyone dies immediately. Is that how you'd like your is that how you'd like your legacy to be remembered?
No.
And they scrape little bits of you off the ship and test it?
No, I don't want to kill anybody. What I hope for is 1,000 years in the future, when the Glipglorps and humans are partying, they see my body shoot by, like whiz by their port as they're partying, and they're like, "Did anybody see that?" And then that's it. That's all it's just me flying by spaceships at insane amounts of speed. That would be awesome.
Man, when you're talking about funerals in space, you could sell some pretty amazing packages with that. Because there's just the flush you out the toilet package. It's like $500. They just kick you out into space.
Yeah.
Or you get the like Wrath of Khan treatment where they fire you across the sun and it makes like a beautiful kaleidoscope of colors. But what would probably have to happen is much like a firework, they'd have to embalm you with all sorts of pretty like burning phosphates. Right. So when they fire you out into space, you actually erupt into cool colors instead of just like dismantling into meat icicles that sort of sprinkle everywhere.
That's the coolest Viking funeral I've ever heard. Man, that'd be so fucking cool.
That would be pretty cool.
Oh, man, I would love that. Also, Scarg in my chat said, then a message appears on the screen says, Bruce was not the imposter. I really like that a lot. Oh, man.
God, Bruce. Do you think there has been an Among Us themed funeral yet?
Boy, that's a great question. That's a quick Google for anybody in chat.
There's probably been like an Among Us wedding, which is tacky, but like I feel like a funeral's even worse.
I'm doing an Among Us funeral right now. I'm looking.
No, it's probably just
there's apparently a copy pasta, so that's the first thing that pops up is an Among Us copy pasta. But as far as I can see, it does not show a live action Among Us funeral. So I don't think anybody's had an Among Us themed funeral yet. Let me look at a wedding here.
Bruce, you can check off a lot of firsts when you exit this world, it sounds like.
Do we think that Among Us is going to be popular in like 40 years?
It's going to be popular in 400 years.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's only going to get more popular.
Is that true?
Once the Good Glorp's get a hold of it, it's going to be a phenomenon.
Okay. Was that the way video games work, chat? I don't know if that's right.
Video games are like stocks. They only get more popular. They only go up.
That's right. Stocks only go up, everybody, until you go bankrupt.
Ooh,
and then,
yeah, there's that.
And they don't go up anymore.
But then it's not your problem because you went bankrupt.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Do you want... Here's another question, Bruce. I'm just full of probative questions today, which is
Yeah,
probably
please
not the
hit me.
best because, yeah, you're all congested, but I'm making you talk.
No. That's it.
Do you want, when you get fired into space, do you want to have a life that has 0 bankruptcies in it? Or do you want to play fast and loose? Do you want to take risks and lean on safety mechanics and stuff?
I don't ever want to go bankrupt because I generally this could be a generalization. I don't know much about bankruptcy. But I would assume if you go bankrupt, you're probably fucking over somebody else. I don't know that. I'm sure there are instances of bankruptcy where you are not screwing over a specific person, but instead screwing over a corporation or something like that maybe is not as bad. But I don't know. So I would ideally not like to go bankrupt at any point in time in my life. Because there's always the question of like, oh, well, if you stole a bunch of money from an evil corporation, like, whatever, Activision Blizzard or something, and then you went bankrupt and you couldn't pay them, well, whatever, who cares? But as long as I'm not fucking over anybody like the little guy, I don't want to fuck over the little guy.
Well, I guess if the little guy invested in you and then you blew all that money, because sometimes I try to convince myself to think about things in a more self-serving way. And a bankruptcy just means you got to spend a lot of somebody else's money for free, right?
You're right.
You're not allowed to declare bankruptcy if you have assets, though. So you have to liquidate everything. But
that's correct.
Yeah. Somebody says Dorothy Avon says most of the time you're screwing over debt collectors or major corporations. Well, why don't we all do it then? Just come up with some BS business proposition, get a shitload of money, form like a shell company, burn it all on hamburgers, and then just be like, whoops, sorry, investment didn't work out. Who gives a shit? You're still rich.
Man, Lawrence, you're kind of onto something. Like, so Mr. Robot, spoiler, by the way, the end of Mr. Robot ends with kind of the most fanciful plot we can all imagine in today's capitalistic society, which is he steals billions of dollars from a corporation and then doles it out to everyone in the world.
Oh, geez.
Which is cool, by the way. It's honestly, it plays out way cooler than in the way I just said it. But at the end of Mr. Robot, when that happens, I was thinking about it. I was like, man, this is really cool. Oh wait, does that mean he fucked over a bunch of are there a bunch of employees, like low-level employees, that don't get paid because of this? Or could we only steal it from Bobby Kotick? Is there a way we could only take Bobby Kotick's bonus and then give that to everybody else? Like, can we just do that?
That'd be cool. We'd have to rig the system though to make it so like his bonus is like a bunch of chicken nuggets, and then we can just take them all. Because he largely gets a bonus package of like equity, right? Which I guess is
yes and no.
So
sometimes it's like a mix.
This is breaking away from fanciful stuff for a little bit, but I'm curious. And this is a boring question. This is not as cool as shooting Bruce out across the Milky Way. But it's something that I'm really curious about, and I'm not a businessman, so hopefully somebody in either of our chats knows the answer to this. All right. Is the idea that your bonus package as voted by investors is equity in a company to make an executive care about the stock price? Because,
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's
absolutely.
That is kind of I just finally figured that out. Because, like,
it's 1-to-1, yeah.
If an executive is just getting a paycheck, ostensibly, they don't really see any personal benefit from the stock price going up or down. Is that correct?
Correct.
So you give somebody something to make them more likely to serve your interests because it only goes up in value if they do what you want. Is kind of how that works.
Well, I mean, when you say you mean the entire company.
The investors.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
specifically.
Yeah, and by the way, so your takes on a much larger meaning there. A lot of people. So that's the interesting thing about, because I mean, yes, of course, you want your CEO invested in the company. So if you give them more stock, then they only want that stock to go up. So then that means that if the stock goes up, that everybody benefits, right? The people that work at the company, the investors, everybody.
I guess that's the thing. How does the stock going up benefit the actual company itself?
So, yeah, you and I have actually had this conversation. We're sorry for the deep money talk right now on the podcast.
Have you told me this before? Because I apologize.
Well, no, because I've never really like done any actual research on this. So the only thing that logically makes sense to me, if the stock price goes up for people that are working at the company, then the only thing it really benefits are people that own stock in the company.
Yeah.
And so this is a whole other thing that I've talked about a lot with a lot of other people, especially in recent days, Lawrence, which I can't talk about on the podcast, but off I can. Which is, if a company is, let's say a company is a startup, they're not publicly traded, and they are building capital, they're building investment, they're building the company, getting bigger and bigger and bigger. However, they're building to get sold. So a lot of the people that are not at the top level do not have stock in the company because there's only privately held stock. So the people at the bottom are grinding to get this company sold. So when they sell the company, then the people at the top benefit because they've got stock in the company. But the people at the bottom, the ones that grinded, get nothing. And probably maybe get kind of fucked because that company got sold and it's probably going to change. Like things will probably change. There might be layoffs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And this is what's happening all the time. It's literally happening at every single company you see, publicly traded or not. I mean, like publicly traded actually is supposed to protect from that. That's the goal, I think, of publicly traded versus a private company. And so to me, that's the thing that I worry about, that I have now seen the pattern happen in a bunch of other companies where these companies get a bunch of people to grind, low to mid-level, that don't have stock in the company, and then the company sells. The people at the top become millionaires or billionaires, leave, go do something else, and then the people in the mid to low level are left to grind even more. I don't know why it took me so long to figure out this pattern, but that's what it is. And it's been going on for, probably as long as, I don't want to say as long as we've been a capitalistic society, but probably for at least 100 years,
Okay. So yeah, the answer is there really isn't a direct benefit aside from, being acquired, or I guess a raising stock price would help a company secure more investment if the perception is that they are growing. And so, okay, yeah. But yeah, short and spicy, basically. I mean, the companies that Bruce and I have worked for, certainly pretty similar to that description. But, most startups work that way, it seems. And I guess that's why the good startups offer equity to all their employees, or some kind of equity package. Or a sweet stock option package that turns into a bag full of diamonds like Machinima. Oh, baby.
Well, to be fair to Machinima, when I started there, they offered me stock and I took it. I mean, like, it was kind of like, hey, it was free, by the way. I didn't have to buy it, but they just give you the stock, and then ideally, just like you said, Lawrence. So then when I'm there, I want to work harder for the company so that the stock goes up, even in a privately held company. So to be fair to Machinima, that happened, and it was the same with Rooster Teeth. When we got onto Rooster Teeth, I think we all got stock in, like, was it full screen or something? Didn't we?
Well, I got an options package that they then immediately bought out for
they did,
not much.
They did, yeah. Yeah, but it was something.
It was something, that's true, yeah.
So like that, if you started a startup, this is just advice, I guess, to anybody that's working at like a smaller company. If you started a startup that seemingly is bringing in lots of money, maybe look for an options package of some sort. Sorry, this is really adult bullshit.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I just realized.
It goes tandem with getting fired out of a rocket into space, though. It's part of the same conversation, I think. How are you going to afford getting fired into space, Bruce, unless you secure a sweet options package in your youth?
Exactly. Like otherwise, and you know, this just comes from Lawrence and I living a long time now. Is that once you get older, you just start seeing patterns.
Yeah. Perspective. It's the benefit of age, I guess.
Yeah, and it's like for me, it's not even perspective; it's just patterns. It's just like I've seen it over and over now, and I'm like, oh, like I get it. And this is all the shit that people were trying to tell you when you were 18. Is they were like, you know, like look for this, look for that, watch out for this, and because they've learned, but you don't know, or at least I didn't know. I wasn't wise enough to see that pattern before it ever showed itself to me. So.
You know, it's funny. You're talking about this pattern of sort of exploiting youth labor. It's something that I kind of worked myself up into a bit of a fury thinking about it because I sort of saw that pattern in my own life. I graduated college and like I had worked since I was 14. So in my hubris, I thought I understood what being a working adult was. Graduated college and then work became my new lifestyle. You know, work wasn't something that I did hourly in addition to my personal life and my scholastic life. Every job, the first job I got out of college, wanted it to be my life, and I didn't quite have the, I don't want to say cynicism, but certainly didn't have the mentorship to know what was going on and to understand the grift at most the levels of it. The shitty thing is, this is the thing that gets me, is like, in the United States, at least, and apologies to international audiences that maybe haven't had to work under these conditions or in this culture. But the idea is very much that it's like a free labor market. You need to understand the value of your labor, and it's on you as a worker to argue for that and to understand your worth. And that goes up and down, by the way. You also need to understand sometimes if you don't offer experience or skilled labor. Anyway, first job I got out of college, you know, it's a corporation. They have like employee management techniques and all the sophistication and like both explicit and implicit ways to kind of extort more work out of you. And all that stuff worked on me like really well. I got really bitter and disillusioned and I quit like a year and a half later, but they still got a year and a half of really good work out of me and didn't compensate me for it.
That's right.
And then the same thing happened in other roles. From there I kind of got into more like passion fields, and there the demands are even a little more insidious because there's a line of people waiting to take your place. If you're lucky enough to write about video games or produce video game videos or whatever. So it's kind of frustrating that I realize now for the last, at least five years or so after I entered the working world as a full-time working adult, a little frustrating that you basically just have to get taken advantage of for a chunk of time until you start to understand the game at scale, kind of like we're talking about. So right. I don't know. It'd be so nice if there was a way around that. I guess ideally I would have had a parent that could have set me down and be like, "Little Lawrence, you're about to become a worker. And part of that means that when people tell you they can't afford to give you a raise, that's bullshit. That's horse shit every time. Never take that from anybody." Like if somebody had told me that, I feel like I would have, I don't know. I'd have been paid a lot more the whole time, I think.
I've told this story before, but it's a great story because I didn't realize how wise this advice was, and I just happened to take it too. So I was same age as Lawrence. I was like 15. I was really excited to get working because I was excited to have my own income and become independent. So I was like literally calling around when I was 15 through the Yellow Pages looking for jobs, and I was calling places. Hey, are you guys hiring? And at one point, I spoke with a gentleman. I don't remember where I called or who this gentleman was, but I spoke with him and I said, "Hey, are you guys hiring?" And he's like, "Actually, yeah, we are looking for stuff. Are you doing like entry level stuff?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, no, I'm brand new. I just want like a clerk or some sort of job like that." And he's like, "Well, how much do you want to get paid?" And that threw me off entirely. Like I was like, $10 an hour. I'm not, and I think I just said I don't know because I have never been in the working world, and like he immediately switched into real talk mode and was like, "Son, He literally, he said, son.
That's so
He
nice.
said, son, you need to know what you're worth. Because if somebody is asking you what you're worth and you don't know, then that means they're going to take advantage of you. And I had no idea. I didn't have any perspective on that. So I was like, oh shit. Okay. Thank you very much. Needless to say, he didn't hire me, but, but it was great advice, and he was totally right. He's right about it all the time. Every job I've ever been to, if you go into a job and somebody says, how much do you want to get paid? Go in there with the highest possible estimate. Because if they're like, oh, that's too much, then they'll tell you, they'll say that's too much. And you could be like, oh, okay, well, let's find a middle ground. So it's really, really great advice. I was very, very lucky to have somebody give me that advice early on. And I've applied it ever since, and it's always worked. It's always worked.
Damn. Yeah, that's good to get started early with that. I think what gets me is like, and I know that I've kind of brought this up before, but money is just like, it's such a relative thing. Grew up in a pretty frugal household. That doesn't necessarily mean we were poor, but my parents didn't spend money on anything. So it kind of set the relative value of money really, really high for me. So I would frequently sort of go low because my just perception of money was different. But then once you're around people who are like dealing in budgets that are in the tens of thousands, or people who are running companies with budgets in the hundreds of thousands, and the things they spend money on and the way they make decisions are just so like not connected with the relative value of money that I have. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That suddenly, like, in retrospect, I was like, why did I think I was doing anyone a favor by like lowballing myself or something like that? Because they have all the money in the world and they don't care. Like the difference in $1,000 of a rate is a huge deal to a worker ant like me. But when somebody's dealing with a whole production budget, it may as well fall behind the couch sometimes. So, sometimes I guess the core of it is, and this is almost a philosophical thing, sometimes I think I'm doing someone else a favor, making their life easier by doing something, but that's from my perspective. My standards may not even apply to them. So, geez, why would you not try to get that bag? There's no reason not to.
Well, so I just saw somebody say something to the effect of like, oh yeah, when I was looking for my first job out of college, the first person to say a number in terms of salary loses. You were the interviewer. I just mean when you asked. I don't mean volunteer it. Don't walk in and be like, in the first interview, and be like, yes, I am perfect and my skills are great, and also I deserve $300,000 a year. Don't do that. I'm saying if they ask, that's important, because they will ask you if they want you, and usually further down the line of the interview process, they're going to ask you how much you want to get paid. Sometimes they'll say, oh well, they'll just literally offer you and say, you could get paid this. And then you decide whether or not you want to take it. But sometimes they'll ask, and then if they ask, you can tell them. So.
Oh yeah, Will Ware says, I was super excited to get a job after college and was so eager to get started, I didn't even question what they were paying me. Looking back on it, I definitely should have negotiated something better. Yeah, I mean, it's a really exciting time. It also can be a really depressing time. At least it was for me. Mm-hmm. But yeah, starting your adult life, it's really exciting. You get to be independent, make some money, make some grown-up money. It definitely does feel like, I mean, to be fair, a fresh graduate out of college is not going to produce work that's as high quality as somebody with 5 or 10 years experience, but still, damn, it is kind of wild what happens in that process. No one really there looking out for their interests, but I guess that's the world, right?
That is the world.
Yeah.
We've all been there. Gabriel asked a really good question, said, do you have advice if you're already working for a company that undervalues your labor? Yes, Gabriel, boy, do I have that advice. That advice is generally go and get another job offer. So you have to go do some work outside of your other job, and you have to go and apply other places. And then eventually you have to get an offer letter, get hired at a new place. And if you want to stay at your old place, you got to bring that offer letter into your old place and say, bang, this is how much they're paying me. If I start over there, do you guys want to keep me? And then you will get one of two answers. You will get, no, bye. Or you'll get, yes, we do want to keep you. What will it take to get you to stay? And then, boy, man, if you're on the opposite side of that question, that's great. That's awesome. Because then most of the time they're willing to deal. And then you can really get what you're worth. But yeah, make the old place work for you. If they don't want to invest in you, peace out. Exactly, Lynn. Exactly. That's how it works.
Yeah. Or just like time theft. The more passive way, just go to work and fucking sit on your hands until they fire you or whatever. Or they put you on notice and then you're just like, fine, fuck it, I already have another job. Eat my ass.
A lot of people do that too, actually. Like you said, time theft, Lawrence, where it's like you just sit on your hands and you're like, you know what? This company's not paying me enough, so fuck it. I'm just going to waste their time. I actually think that's terrible. And the reason I think that's terrible, here's the only reason. There's only, and this reason doesn't apply to everybody. But the reason I think that is terrible is because you may be fucking over other people, other coworkers who need your work. So it's way more valuable to communicate with your employer and tell them, I don't like what I'm doing. Is there any way we can change that? So that's all.
Take 3-hour shits.
Well, Activision, you've talked about how Activision Blizzard people should just go in and like chill, and I kind of agree. I kind of agree on that. There's like sort of an agreed upon, like if everyone at the company agrees,
yeah,
we're gonna just fuck around for a little bit and get paid, then we're good. But if like one dude is sandbagging, then that sucks.
Yeah, if everyone else is trying to pull in a direction, even if it's just to get a project done or something like that, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, but I know what you're saying, Lawrence. Like, because like I have seen those people around, and they're and usually it's like, you know, somebody else is trying to pick up their slack, and it sucks.
It does. It very much does. Yeah. And then that it's so fascinating to watch how like group dynamics in workplace can happen, because one person starts slacking, people start resenting them, then they start slacking because they're having to overinvest, and then like it's weird how it spirals out and just sort of drags morale and productivity down.
Yep.
Well, enough of that. Well, or unless you got something else to say.
No, I'm done. That's great.
Let's talk about fucking video games, dude.
Yeah, video games.
Enough of this shit. We don't work. We play video games.
There's so many good videos. You know what? We might as well do this now. Let's do it now since we got a good segue. This podcast is brought to you by NordVPN. Oh, that's right. NordVPN, who always sponsors this podcast. The reason we do the podcast is because of their sponsorship. So please go to nordvpn.com/talk-to-internet. nordvpn.com/talk-to-internet. You'll get a 2-year plan for $3.18 a month. So it's a 2-year plan plus 4 months free. You save 73% with our deal for a VPN. Now, if you don't know what a VPN is, a VPN is basically something that protects your internet traffic. It encrypts it and it hides it so that you are not necessarily just browsing the internet over completely open Wi-Fi where everybody can see what it is. So it's easy to use. You connect with one click, or just enable an auto connect feature when you've installed it on your computer or Android, iOS device, whatever. There's 5,200 servers in 60 countries. And by that, I mean there are a bunch of other servers you can route your internet traffic through. So if you want to route it through a server in the UK, if you're in the US, once you've routed it through that UK server, you can then watch Netflix in the UK. It's kind of region-based with a VPN. Of course, it's really, really fast. It's confirmed by the speed test. NordVPN is the fastest VPN out there. I've said this before. I've tried it many times where I was testing speeds with a VPN without a VPN because I had been DDoSed. And NordVPN slowed it down just a touch, but it wasn't that much. It really was not that much. I was very surprised. You put it on up to 6 devices. It's on every major platform: Windows, Android, iOS, macOS, Linux. And of course, for Lawrence, Android TV. As we know, Lawrence has an Android TV, but it's NVIDIA. What is it? It's the NVIDIA
Shield TV.
That's right, the Shield TV.
I have access to the world's media, Bruce.
So you can put a VPN on that thing. There are diskless servers, so they store no data or configurations on site. NordVPN is also upgrading to co-located and 10 gigabit per second servers. And it's got NordLynx, which is a next generation VPN tunneling solution based on the WireGuard protocol. It all the way down, just provides an extremely fast VPN connection for people who don't speak all that mumbo jumbo. And like we talked about, you could watch region lock stuff if you route your VPN or your internet traffic through a VPN server in the UK or who knows, in Australia, something like that. You could watch all that other region lock stuff on Netflix or Hulu, anything like that. And You could do that with games too, which is something that I never even thought about until I read this on the NordVPN creators brief. If the game's not available in your country, you just change your location and buy it over there. Pretty simple. So again, go to nordvpn.com/talk2internet. It's the easiest way to protect your data, protect your internet traffic, sending it through a VPN, and it's really super simple to use. And again, thank you, NordVPN, for sponsoring Talk to the Internet. We really appreciate it, and I think we're very lucky to have that sponsorship and be able to do the podcast thanks to them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Blazing Penguin in chat says, I got the deal and I love it.
Oh, thank God. That's good to hear. That's really good to hear. Man, that's something that we don't, just a little peek behind the curtain. Lawrence and I very rarely get to see numbers about how many people actually buy the deal. So they don't ever show us that. So we never actually know if somebody used it. And then if they use it, we don't know if they even liked it. So it's like, tell us if you didn't like it, or if you did, or if you bought it or whatever. We would love to know. At least I would.
Absolutely. No, I love that stuff too.
Yeah.
It was always interesting to me how when we were at Funhouse for years, I kind of handled a lot of the ad reads on Dude Soup. And yeah, I got almost no feedback about how any of them worked. It was one of those like, you don't hear anything, it must be okay. So yeah, that's usually how it works. So we really, honestly, I really like the whole reason that I do any of this stuff is to connect with people. That's what's really cool about it. So the advertising side is certainly a part of it, but it's really cool to connect with people through that too, and to hear how people interact with the products. Because if people aren't into it, then maybe we got to make some changes. But it's good to hear that it's good stuff.
Yeah, that's and again, also if you're having trouble with it, you let us know. You could tweet us, because then I'll just CC them and we'll get a thread started about what problems you're having, and hopefully they'll fix it. So either way,
Right.
All right, Lawrence, you want to talk about video games?
Yeah, there's so many video games. Also, God of War coming to PC. How about that? Sony's doing it.
Oh my gosh, they
Only
did it.
what? It'll only be like 3.5 years after it came
About
out.
3.5 years. That's right.
Brr.
But it's still cool.
Still a great game. Yeah, I'm still chipping through it on Give Me God of War difficulty. Klingon Corgi, they announced it this morning. God of War to PC. There's even a Steam page for it. It's weird to look at, but it's exciting. I mean, I guess I'll start the game over again, but that's cool. It's still a fun game. I'm still waiting for 7 Remake though. Someday I'll talk about that on PC.
Lawrence, how do you think Sony is just sitting on these and then they're just dribbling them out, or is it actually taking this long to port them?
I think probably a mix. I think that they're being very hesitant about how they tiptoe into the PC space.
Okay.
I think that there was some mention, I can't remember which, I think it might have been Jim Ryan, talking about how they were taking it really slow with rolling it on PC, but all the indicators they've seen have been super positive. So I think they do intend to invest more in it and speed it up, but they just seem really, really, really hesitant. I think they're honestly just really careful about the PlayStation brand and the way that it's represented and the way that it's perceived. And I think they were concerned that releasing on PC might damage the brand or damage the image of the brand. But it doesn't seem to have done that at all with Horizon Zero Dawn. It actually seems pretty smooth. So I think they're stepping on the gas a little more, and the results of that will be felt 2 years from now. But yeah, I'm gonna guess that they're spinning up a few more PC ports than they expected. It's just gonna take a while for that to actually happen. So,
yeah, we've got a little insight from Chris Lynn saying very likely it's a Sony publishing group slowly brokering it. So,
yeah, this is super anecdotal, coming from slight mentions from a bunch of different people. Sony doesn't move super fast because they don't have to. It's one of those things of it's one. God, it reminds me of that line from Goodfellas, didn't move fast because he doesn't have to move for anybody. That's basically Sony. So I don't think they're in any hurry, and I think that they rightfully understand that a God of War port that releases in 2022 is going to sell just as well as a God of War port that would have released in 2019 or something that. So I don't think they're in any hurry. I think they understand they're sitting on some good products that the PC market will buy whenever they come out. And I think they're more focused on, maintaining... not only maintaining their brand awareness, but making sure that they come out the best in all of their deals. So
that's right.
I'm kind of surprised they're okay releasing through Steam. I would have thought that they would have demanded a better revenue share than Steam would give them. Now, it's also possible that they did negotiate a better revenue share through Steam.
Oh, yeah, we don't know about it.
It's really hard for me to imagine Sony paying Steam 30% of all their revenues on a digital game. Oh, and Good Old Games? Oh, wait. God of War's coming to Good Old Games?
Huh. That's really cool, actually.
That is really cool. I think Good Old Games has the same revenue split. Epic's the only one that I think is better, which I guess they're not coming to Epic, which is weird. But I guess Sony and Epic have beef anyway, right? So
they'll never put it on Epic.
Oh, Horizon is on Good Old Games. Okay, all right.
Oh, okay, all right, gotcha.
I mean, that's still something. But yeah, I would guess that's part of it, and the slow release. I would guess that's also maybe a factor there. Is Sony's trying to. I would guess, based on some stories we've read, if Sony's coming to the PC space, they're probably trying to carve out the best possible deal they can, and I think they're willing to wait until they get a good deal. So, why does Sony have beef with Epic? Because Epic wanted to sell V-Bucks direct through Fortnite, but Sony didn't want. Oh, it's crossplay. That's right. Epic wanted crossplay with Fortnite. Sony didn't want Epic potentially messaging Fortnite players to buy V-Bucks through a system other than Sony's digital store. So Sony had to come up with this whole deal just for Epic that involved revenue payback and stuff. I guess I should take that back, though, Omi Dart. That doesn't imply that they have beef. It does just imply that Sony's willing to, like, get in the contractual weeds to make a game happen.
Yeah.
If they perceive in any way that they might lose out on revenue from their audience. So that's kind of what it feels like.
Yeah. I wonder, man, Lawrence, you kind of like got me really thinking about that Steam. I feel like Valve doesn't change for anybody, like in terms of revenue share. I feel that even if it's Sony, I think Valve is like, nope. Like they seem to just like it's 30. Is it 30%? What is it?
Yeah, it's 30. Yeah. 30% of all revenue.
Nope. It's always 30%. It doesn't matter who you are, whether or not you're some random dude or Sony. I don't know though. I could be wrong.
You're probably right too. So that's why it seems so strange to me. I wouldn't think. What somebody suggested this in chat a while ago, and I forget who, but they speculated that Sony's slow rollout could be because they're developing their own PC marketplace, and that actually made the most sense to me, and also why it would take a really long time because Sony probably doesn't have. Well, they might have internal developers that could make a PC marketplace, but Sony definitely seems like the kind of company where if they're going to sell a game digitally on PC, they'd like to keep all of it because they have that set up through their own hardware. Yeah. Oh, it was you, Nick? All right. Well, it's
Nick Cage show.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting suggestion. I think that Sony has said a couple of times that they're feeling pretty good about PC and willing to invest in it more. So
they did.
Yeah. So that kind of makes sense to me, and that way also they can kind of charge whatever they want. Because if it's on a boutique service, people's pricing expectations kind of get reset. So if you're not logging into Steam and seeing a Sony first-party game sitting there for $70 or $80 next to a $10 game, like that seems more absurd than logging into Sony's own thing where they play a PlayStation chime and the blue colors come up, and then it's like, oh, you can buy Returnal for $90 on PC. I keep making the price go up. I don't know why.
Well, because we know that they actually have a monopoly. They literally established a digital monopoly, so they can do whatever they want if they have their own PC platform, which again, they've seen so much success with that digital monopoly on the digital store that I'm sure they are. I mean, Lawrence, you're totally right. They've got to be working on a PC distribution platform that isn't Steam.
Well, again, it wasn't even my suggestion, but
That's true. Yeah,
it is a really compelling idea, and from my perspective, if it encourages Sony to release more products on PC, then okay, that's fine. If that's what they sort of mandate is that they don't split.
Though?
Is it?
Think of it this way. Right now it's on Steam. We get it for $60 or whatever, and then they put it out on their own little platform. They're like, but they're all $70, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like they raised the price and they took it off of Steam. Like, so if they raise the price, then a lot of people are gonna be pissed.
They're gonna be pissed, but they're still gonna buy it. You know,
Yeah, you might be right.
Companies like Sony, that's where their brand image stuff gets into weird territory, because they seem totally okay like raising prices. They seem okay ignoring that complaint from the audience. They seem so protective in other ways. So I don't know. It does seem like they're really interested in sort of finding cutesy little ways to carve out more money, which is good. I mean, that's what businesses do. But I just wonder how far that's going to go, because the PC platform is such a jungle. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
Well, so wait a minute though. If they're selling it on Steam, then that means you can buy digital codes for it. So essentially,
That's true.
because like you were saying, the kind of like on Apple devices, like Apple's the only marketplace that can operate on an Apple device. So if you want to buy something, you have to go through Apple. And they set the prices for everything so they can price fix and stuff like that. Kind of the same accusations towards Sony and the digital-only PlayStation consoles. Physical games at least get released to retailers, and the retailers can try to outprice each other and run sales. But if Sony's controlling all the prices, then they get to fix price. What's weird about Sony releasing... And they actually seem pretty stalwart in preventing other retailers from competing with them in price, because they stopped selling codes. They only sell, like, store codes now. But when they're selling God of War on Steam, then there's Steam codes that like even gray market retailers like G2A can start selling and stuff like that. So that's interesting. I would have guessed that Sony would never ever ever put themselves in a position where digital codes of their games can be released on the market. Huh. So they seem a little chill. Like if it's on anyway, I guess bottom line is Sony on Steam seems way more chill than I thought Sony had in them right now.
Well, I think now that we're talking about it, they're probably piloting it. They're probably seeing what their sales are like. By the way, somebody, a couple people I think it was in your chat, were saying for Steam, it's sales over 10 million, they only take 25%, and then sales over 50 million, they take 20%. Valve.
Oh, they started scaling?
So they scale a little bit if you do 10 million or 50 million sales.
Okay. Thank you for the correction. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, so they're probably piloting this. They're probably like seeing how many copies they can sell, and then if they sell 10 million copies of God of War on PC, which they're probably not, but they're probably going to sell like, let's say 2 million copies of God of War on PC, then they do the math, they go back, well, that's 30% of each copy. Hold on, let me actually do the math on that. So 2 million times 60, right, is... Well, do you think they're going to sell it for 60, Lawrence?
I think it's 50, right?
Oh, it is. You're right. It's 50. 2 million times 50. And then you do times 0.3. So that's, holy fuck. Is it really that much? 2 million times 50 is 10 million. Is it $10 million?
Yeah.
$100 million? No, that can't be right.
Yeah, it's 100 million.
It's 100 million?
2 million times 50, yeah.
There's no way they're going to sell 2 million copies of God of War on PC, right?
You don't think? Why not?
I don't know. Will they? Anyway, so let's say they do that, and then the 30% of that's, 30 million. So they could be like, okay, well, the $30 million we lost to Steam, if we had put that into R&D for a Sony PC platform distribution model, then we would have made all that money back. So that, to me, I don't know what the sales are like on PC for Sony games.
So I just looked up Horizon Zero Dawn. It sold 700,000 at launch. But I think that property is probably...
Just at launch, though?
Yeah.
And was it 60?
I think so.
That's insane. So I think they're going to take that money that they are handing over to Valve right now and just instead use it.
It's 50 right now. I don't know if it was 60 when it launched.
Oh, is it 50? Okay, yeah. They're just instead going to use that for R&D for the Sony PC platform.
Yeah, it's a pretty even split. I think the problem is it's just like the lag involved. Either you take people off of projects you already have going, so you kind of, let's assume that it's this simple. You have 200 developers and they're making games. You could carve off 10 and then say, you guys are making a PC platform now. Not to say that they have any experience doing that or that it's that simple, but that would interfere with whatever projects they were working on. So then you have to reorganize your slate or hire, which takes time. So yeah, I think all the business practicalities of that get a little messy.
Sure.
And then you have to operate it. That's the thing that sucks, is it's the cost of making it and then the cost of operation. So yeah, you do get to keep that 30 million, but then you have to deal with chargebacks, and you have to have a call center waiting by, and you have to have a support center, and you got to deal with people trying to scam you all the time. And the bit in there about like the better revenue splits, and then so Alexa says that also there are rumors that some publishers get automatically bought into a lower revenue split or a better revenue split because of the expected sales. So and also I feel like Sony doesn't even need to do that. They can just walk in and say, you're giving us the best split, and Valve can be like, yeah, right. So maybe, so interestingly, and we are in full theoretics now because we have no access to any of these numbers. But
Right.
let's say Sony did have the number on the wall and the dry erase board of the money it would cost to make a store, and then the money they would have to spend every year operating it, and then they had the revenue split Valve right next to it, and it was like roughly equal because Valve gave them a good deal. Now that would be interesting if it got to a level of equality. Omi says, I think they'll probably wait to reveal their platform until they have more games for PC. Plus, for PC, the games are years after its original release, so it'll probably just be additional revenue on those titles. I mean, that's like the remake train, which Sony's going to be riding for a while since its new console. But yeah, you dig into your bag of tricks, and it's like free revenue for a little bit, or just extracting more revenue out of investments you've already made is what that amounts to. So who knows? You can play PlayStation Now games on a PC right now. Is that through a browser? I actually haven't explored that much.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, nobody does it.
Some people do,
but not many.
Maybe they. Let's see here.
There's a PS Now app for Windows. Okay,
what's an app? Okay.
I was just looking up Steam operating costs because I was curious. And the only thing I could really find are basically people found that Steam's share of the market grew to 4.3 billion. This is revenue for Steam in 2017. So 4.3 billion in revenue. And then also somebody was doing some clown math on a forum and found out that just for downloads, it costs about 134 million for the amount of data they push a year. So, but that's Steam, and they've got, hundreds of thousands of games probably. Whereas PC would be pushing, Sony would be pushing 10 games, 15 games, something like that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But yeah, the closest I could find for operating costs just for data was 134 million a year back in 2017, 2018. And even then that's clown math. So
yeah, that's so fascinating.
Yeah. Just thinking about how much money, because Sony's got the cash to put up front for this thing. They could do it. It's just about whether or not they want to. I bet they're already working on it.
It stands to reason. It's a pretty big investment, and I would doubt it, except for the fact that Sony executives did straight up say, "Yeah, we're investing big time into PC,
right?
Or we're going to do more with that platform." So that's cool. I think what we see now, though, or rather, what I perceive the list of priorities to be is like Sony releases banner game for their prestige platform. So it's going to come out on PlayStation 5 first. Then maybe it'll hit the remaster treatment. It'll get re-released or like brushed up and pushed out again, a Game of the Year edition. And then several years after that, maybe it'll come out on PC. So I think PC is last in line, which makes sense given Sony's platforms. It's just, so here's the real question, Bruce. Here's the real brain tickler. Here's the real head scratcher. For professional gamers such as us, or PC gamers such as us, what do we do, Bruce? A hot PS5 game comes out, and it's hot. It's white hot. Everyone's talking about it. Do we play it on PS5 right away, or do we wait for it to come to PC and play it 5 years after the fact with like slightly better frame rates? What do we do?
So I will remove the fact that we are content creators from the equation. Because if we're content creators, you play it first. You play it day and date.
Yeah, wherever it's at. Yeah, that's a good point.
But if you're not a content creator and you are the snootiest of PC gamer, then you wait. Because it's going to be better on PC and you know it. Because everything is better on PC and everybody knows that. I don't want to hear any arguing in chat. We all know that.
Bruce, here's a small peek into the power of the PC, all right? Try this on your PlayStation 5. I'm prepping for an FMV horror movie game night, basically a bunch of cheesy 90s horror games this Friday, which involves like a lot of tech because those games don't want to run. However, I did get the X-Files game working, and all I had to do was install it and then some weird knockoff of QuickTime that still works for some reason. And it works, baby. It works. Power PC. Try to play X-Files, the video game from 1998 on your PlayStation 5. Actually, you might actually be able to do that. But still, it's technically abandonware. So try that. You had to eBay it? Yeah, it was QT Lite. Yeah, but anyway, it is pretty cool, the current state of PC and how resilient it is. There's a couple of tools. There's rendering wrappers you can just drop into old like 90s shitty video games to make them work. There's a DOS box which pretty much handles most DOS games. It's the same exchange. You need that tech literacy and willingness to read some dry text files written by a non-native English speaker. But you can play X-Files, the video game. The power of the PC, Bruce. There it is.
Lawrence is talking about the like old stuff, and yeah, you could play anything old on PC, anything. But if you're the type of person that doesn't want to fuck with all that stupid bullshit, like me, even though because I've done it 100 times, but I hate it. And instead you just want to wait for something to come out. Like I was noticing people were saying that Halo Infinite was actually had better frames on Series X than it did on PC. And that kind of blew my mind because I was like, well, wait a minute. Should I be playing this game on Series X? Like, no. Even Microsoft owns Windows. Like, they can't figure it out. And so, like, maybe there will be a day that these exclusives will be better on the console than on the PC. But I don't, like, has that happened very often?
I mean, that's been the case for the last, like, 40 years. If a game was made for a console and then ported to PC, it was trash on PC.
Yeah.
But it's been getting a lot better.
Well, it's because ever since PS4 and Xbox One, they changed their architecture. Before it was like this really weird kind of like mishmash of PC and console architecture for like the 360 and the PS3 and stuff. And then when PS4 and Xbox One came out, we actually did a bunch of stuff when we were at Inside Gaming about how those consoles were basically just PCs. They had just built PCs. So now that the architecture is just straight PCs, then it doesn't matter. You could port them over. It's pretty easy, and there should not be too much performance lost.
So here's what I'm curious about, because there was someone in chat a couple of days ago, kind of I was sardonically referencing the Xbox Snap feature and the fact that we had to like promote people to say Xbox Snap Machinima app, which is just God, who would ever say that out loud? Anyway, it made me remember one time where I actually did use snapping. I was like watching a Twitch stream while playing a game, which is really a cozy space. Most people do that these days. But they removed the snap feature, I think, because they wanted to free up more system RAM for games. Essentially, if you can snap an app at any time, then a game has to reserve a certain amount of RAM just in case you do it. Because if it plans on using that RAM and then you snap something and then it crashes, that's not good. So Phil Spencer, when he took over, he was like, no, this shit does games, which was a good call. Not arguing with that. However, it was pretty cozy to watch a Twitch stream and play a game at the same time. So I wonder if, because like consoles are getting close to PC, especially the Series X. Like it can do high frame rate, it can do 1440p output, kind of Dreamcast vibes there a little bit, but it still can't run multiple apps at the same time. Almost as a point. So it almost seems now the dividing line between console and PC is that most of the time console doesn't require a bunch of weird tweaking to get working properly. But PCs can do more than one thing at a time, and they can also run Photoshop. That seems to be like the big division over here. I don't know. At what point in your mind would a console just cease to be a console?
Well, I guess that's what Xbox was trying to do before when, what's his name, was in Matrick, right? Was in charge.
Don Matrick.
He was basically just trying to get a computer into people's homes because it was like, it's your television overlay and you could snap an app and and also play a game. But people already had computers. And so I clearly it was a bad, and also the Xbox One was entirely underpowered for what that was trying to do. So I don't know that we'll ever get to that spot where a console box will be like a PC. And the reason I say that is because the consoles are just turning into like a service.
So, I guess you're right.
Yeah. So like, it's not going to be, there won't be any hardware. It'll just be another app you run. So eventually then your PC will just be everything.
Are you going to be sad about that if you can't put a box on your living room anymore? Yeah.
No, I don't give a fuck.
What if your PC went away? What if you had to sign in to Microsoft like Windows, and then all of Windows and everything you had installed was just like an instance of a stream on your desktop?
So we're getting there because of COVID already. Like, so COVID turned everybody on to this platform that's I think existed for a while called Parsec.
Oh yeah.
And Parsec was something I didn't really even know about until COVID, because I had to do a bunch of events, like stuff for work, but it was all remote. So I would just log into a computer and play a video game on a Parsec machine, which was just another computer somewhere else. And I think we're getting to that point now where you're just going to end up buying time on a PC, and then you'll have, a tiny little box like an Apple TV box and then a monitor. And then you just sign into whatever, console you've bought time on, or I'm sorry, PC you bought time on, and then do whatever you want on there. Autumn, she edits from home, but she parsecs into a computer to edit. So she edits through Parsec all day.
That's wild.
And she actually said it was an improvement over her PC at home.
Wow.
And her PC at home is not underpowered, but Parsec made it so that the computer at work that she's remoting into, that computer is like not bogged down with a bunch of bullshit. Right? Like the bunch of other garbage that she had probably installed on her computer at home.
Hacks or viruses.
Yeah, all of her gay porn.
Playing all those skeezy flash porn games, yeah.
Yeah. So she actually has said Parsec is better. So I think we're just going to get to a point where eventually we're just all buying time on a PC. Except for me. I'm always going to buy a PC because I love them.
Can have your box in your room.
Yeah.
Are you prepared, Bruce, for just before you get fired across the Milky Way, some little kid is going to roll up and make fun of you for having your own PC like a caveman. You're going to be like that old dude still driving around on a horse-drawn carriage. Shit. Like little kids are buzzing past you and their hoverboards and their hover scooters.
Damn it. Lawrence is totally right. I'm going to be like, no, it's better to have a PC at home. I love blasting hot air into my room.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. All the heat will be somewhere else.
But then a bunch of those kids, riding by on their hoverboards would be like, I got my fucking PC right here, dude.
Yeah.
I can play a game right here.
They have their cyber eyes dialed into the game matrix, and they just beat you in Call of Duty while making fun of your stupid caveman PC.
Shit, you're right. You are totally right, Lawrence.
Here's the thing.
We're going to be the old ones with boxes in our homes.
We are. Yeah. But here's the thing, though. And I feel like it's got to be going here. Actually, I guess Stadia literally already does this. But you talk about paying for time. I think it's going to be more like build for like CPU cycles. So
yes.
If you're poor, you're going to have to turn all the settings down in your game, and it's going to look like trash.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can't afford to burn like PC cycles and stuff. But if you're rich, like Bruce and I will be, or if you have your own PC, then we'll be able to pay for all the sweet graphics. You'll be playing on like crappy Mario Brothers mode, where we'll have like 18 layers of ray tracing turned on. Oh, it's gonna be rad.
Man. So do you think that much like Neil Blomkamp's Elysium, we will be the rich ones on like a a thing off planet where we all have our own computers that are boxes that we can rent to poor people while we play games on them?
That's a good point. Yeah, I could rent out my cycles, the ones I'm not using. Although I guess I pay for the electricity, so it'd be like subletting. I mean, I guess that's just crypto at that point, isn't it? Huh.
Yeah, it totally is. Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah, it's I don't know. Computing in the future is going to get really disconnected. Yeah, kids in the future won't know what a PC is. They'll be using their commie PCs all hooked together. Stupid.
That's probably right, though. I don't think we're gonna move away from having PCs in our home.
Yeah.
We'll have like laptops and tablets and shit, but but having like an actual box that sits somewhere in a room, I don't know that we're gonna be doing that.
It'll probably be okay. Like if all the computing is done in a central location, that means it'll be way easier to maintain. It'll be way easier to monitor. It'll be way easier to make more efficient. So there are a lot of advantages to living that way, but I do like perhaps the illusion that I just have a box that's all I need, just my sweet box. I miss my box. Miss this box.
I mean, we'll miss it. We'll miss it too, but it's gonna be there's gonna come a time where it'll be faster to buy CPU cycles, and the game will look better.
Yeah, ostensibly that's what I mean. That can happen now. People who have used Google Stadia say that it works and it like is what it is. It does what it says it's going to do. And yeah,
That's
for people
true.
who either can't buy a current gen graphics card or a current gen console, that is a way to see current gen games theoretically at their best. Maybe.
Lawrence, I just came up with something. So I just got rated by Kind of Funny, and this is perfect for the Kind of Funny audience. Imagine that Sony this is Lawrence. I just came up with the perfect business opportunity for Sony. So Sony right now obviously has console exclusives, right? And they're slowly rolling them out on PC. Imagine the only way you can play a Sony game is if you buy CPU cycles on Sony computers.
Oh, Jesus. Ugh.
So you have to remote into Sony computers, and you got to play only on Sony's internet.
Oh, like you have to have there's a Sony ISP?
Oh shit. Fuck.
Because that's kind of PlayStation now. That's all their computers, right?
Can you imagine? Oh no. Can you? I just thought of something that may happen, but hopefully never does. Imagine that the internet gets broken up into companies.
Oh yeah, I figured that was a thing. I mean, it's going to be like cable networks, right? Every media provider is going to have to negotiate with every ISP to like be carried on their service.
That's the opposite of the internet, though.
Well, this is what happened when net neutrality went away. Like once you can start actually prioritizing packets and stuff, yeah, you can just bury everything from a company that didn't pay you.
But that's the opposite of the internet. The internet's supposed to be shared.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Like then you have to pay for Xbox internet and Sony internet and Google internet. Oh.
I think what'll be more likely, like the way that they'll phrase it, is that you'll have your ISP, and then you'll have an add-on package that'll make this service way better. So if you just buy internet, baby, you can use Netflix. It's fine. Just use it. It's there, but it'll buffer all the time and like play really poorly, and maybe like new releases won't play because everyone else is trying to play them because they have premium Netflix and they get put in the queue in front of you when it comes to serving video. Or maybe it's like, God, it'll be like, what if it's like early wireless plans where it's like you have the nights and weekends Netflix plan and you can like try to use it in peak hours, but they won't let you. Like you'll just be last in line for any data.
Well, I know people.
Sorry, go ahead.
People in your chat are like, oh, net neutrality, like sweet innocent Bruce, et cetera, et cetera. It hasn't really become a thing yet. Like it hasn't really affected people's lives yet. Once it does, I'll tell you what the immediate response will be from the cool Mr. Robots of the internet. It'll be internet. It'll be blockchain internet, and they'll figure out ways to get around like Sony and Google and all their shit. But then it'll be all like free internet on the blockchain.
Blockchain internet.
Uh-huh.
I'm trying to figure that out. But hey, I'm sold. You know what? I'm sold. We should make a startup, Bruce, and get a bunch of 20-year-olds to make this for us.
We call it blockchain internet.
Yeah, it's the two perfect words right next to each other. Try to not invest in that.
How can you mash those two together? blockchain net.
Like Chainernet.
Blockchainer net. There we go. Now we're talking.
We just copywrote that. You can't have it. That's ours. Sorry, San Francisco. We're taking this one.
BlockerNet, BlockNet.
BlockNet sounds pretty cool. It does sound like something that would block you, though. This is going to be a service that it opens up the world again.
You're right.
Finally,
you're right. It does sound like something that will block you. CryptoNet. It's not, but it's not a cryptocurrency. It's on the blockchain. So
this is something we're gonna have to explain to everyone every time. It's not a cryptocurrency, all right? But you can still invest in it. You can still give us money.
ChainNet sounds cool.
Oh, that does.
NetChain. I feel like that's all. That was an ISP from 1993.
NetChain, yeah,
yeah.
It's cool. So basically, we have to wait until like wallet chains come back, and then we unleash WebChain 3.0. Let's just throw a 3.0 on the end.
All right, yeah.
That'll make people feel better. We already did it twice, right? So this one's got to be good.
They're like, "Where's version 1.0 and 2.0?" And they're like, we made it in 1996."
Beta.
Yeah. Soft launch.
Oh, I can't wait to be rich. Bruce, what are you gonna do when you get tech rich? What's the first thing you're gonna do?
So tech rich. What do you mean by tech rich?
Well, we're gonna make our company. We're gonna hire a bunch of 20-year-olds to work 12-hour days.
ChainNet, got it.
Yeah, we're gonna sell it, and then we're gonna get tech rich. We're gonna get like, I deserve this rich, even though we totally don't. What are you gonna do with all your earned billions?
I still want to be the first person. How about this? Can I be the first .comer on the moon? How about that? There's never been a .comer on the moon before.
That's a good point.
I got to hurry up, though, because there are .comers on the way. Elon Musk is going to step on the moon here pretty soon, so I got to beat him.
What if, and this is me, I'm never stopping to get that bag, but I did have an idea, Bruce, and maybe you can take your tech billions and invest it in my new startup, which is a railgun that will fire you into the moon from the Earth.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we're going to wrap you in like metal coil. We're going to stiffen up your body a little bit, put some like splints, pieces of wood on either side so you don't fall apart.
That makes sense.
And then we juice up that thing and we just fire you straight into the moon. So you'll get there and you technically you'll be the first. And maybe the crater will even be visible from Earth. Who knows? So how about that? Or we have a little flag. Put a little flag in you. So when you collide with the moon's surface, there's a little flag poking out.
But I'm going to be like a smoothie. I'm just going to be liquid when I
Yeah, you'll be buried several layers deep into the moon's surface, which is kind of like a funeral if you think about it.
Hey, that's true. I'd be all right with that. If I was about to die and they knew I was about to die, throw me in that railgun, fire me into the moon. I'm fine with that.
Okay, all right. You get your travel through space. You get to be on the moon. Kind of checks all boxes for you, doesn't it?
What a ride! Actually, I think you would probably die as you got fired out of the cannon. You wouldn't even be anywhere near the moon.
I've thought about that.
You would probably be killed immediately upon firing.
Yeah, we'll have to have the boys in the lab, the 20-year-olds, work on that one. I'm gonna send out an email on Friday. Sorry, everyone. I need everyone to work on the weekend. If you
got to fire this old man into the moon.
Yeah, we got to figure out how to keep him alive until he impacts with the surface of the moon. Oh yeah, the Jules Verne moon cannon. It can finally be that. Except instead of like a giant tank shell, it's just Bruce wrapped in tinfoil and some 2x4s from Home Depot.
And some bubble wrap and shit. Yeah. What is the Jules Verne moon cannon?
I just think about that movie where they like everyone's having a party in a skyscraper and then everyone like fires themselves into the moon and then they get out and they have a little picnic, right? Right? It's the moon with the face in it with a little tank shell stuck in them.
Are you talking about like the really, really old black and white like silent film? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, Trip to the Moon. That's going to be you.
Yes.
I don't know if that has anything to do with Jules Verne, though. That's just what I was thinking of. Yeah, that doesn't have anything to do with Jules Verne. Never mind.
Because I just like the way that name sounds, the Jules Verne moon cannon. It's got some real good alliteration to it. The JVMC is what I call it.
Oh, yeah. Well, maybe we can copyright that. Jules Verne is public domain, right?
The person?
The name? Sure, why not?
Yeah.
Or maybe just the moon cannon.
We call it the Jules Verne moon cannon, but it has nothing to do with Jules Verne, and that's why we can copyright it.
It's like Tom Clancy's.
Yeah, exactly.
Fort Nightmares? What a great name. Man, Fortnite doing it again, huh? They're doing I guess they're doing a Halloween event called Fort Nightmares, Wrath of the Cube Queen.
Yeah, I saw. I saw.
Tom Cruise has the rights? Damn it. Why doesn't
Somebody's-
Tom Cruise open a series of cruise liners so you can go on Tom Cruise's cruises? Stupid.
Malco's backseating me on the word alliteration. He's saying that's not alliteration.
Oof.
Jules Verne Moon is the alliteration I'm talking about there. Also, there's an ends in canon as well. So, if that's what you want to backseat me on alliteration here.
The coolest people in the world are the ones that correct others' grammar before thinking about how it will seem. Which was me and still is sometimes. All I ask is if you're going to correct someone's grammar, admit to yourself that it's what you're doing before you do it, so that when you do it, you can savor and enjoy it. You need to be like a mustache twirling villain when you cheekily correct someone's grammar. It is, yeah,
Okay.
he's right. It's not alliteration though.
They want what is it called? Assonance, they're saying? It's assonance?
Ooh.
Is that what you call the representative sound of sure. Okay, assonance. It's a good thing I like Malco. It's a good thing I like it. I'm sorry I said one word wrong in an hour and a half of talking.
So wait, is assonance the opposite of dissonance? I didn't know there was a...
That sounds about right, yeah. My goodness gracious. Jeez.
Well, it looks like we're not making it to podcast 100 after this
Nope.
little dust up.
Nope.
Oh,
I apologize. I am not perfect. I should start every stream with that. I am not perfect. I will probably say something that is wrong in the next 4 hours.
yeah, you gotta
of
have
talking.
Frida in your lap, looking like eyes wet, looking at the camera. Wow, guys, what a week, huh?
I know.
It's a good idea because like you can get canceled at any time for anything, so you might as well just apologize at the outset, and then you got all your bases covered. Yeah. What happens if you're live and somebody finds a tweet from 2002 where you're saying some slurs, Bruce? Lord knows it's out there, but you're having fun. You're playing a video game. People come in with that shit, and then everyone else is like, "Don't worry about it. He already apologized." Boom, bases
Done.
covered. Yeah, that's it.
Every stream, I'm going to say I'm sorry for all the slurs, even though I don't know what the slurs are, and also I'm also not perfect. Keep that in mind.
I'm not perfect, and I'm sorry about all the slurs.
You know what I'm going to do? I've decided, Lawrence, actually, by the way, again, this is nothing against Malco. Firefly was like, stink off. Malco's great. I was like, I know Malco's great. I see Malco in my chat all the time. I like Malco. What I'm going to do from now on is I'm going to backseat every single spelling error and grammar problem in chat. I'm going to call them out because I see them constantly. But I don't call them out because that's a dick move. I know that you guys are... Because I know that you guys are trying to like usually trying to talk fast. I get that. We're a few seconds behind. Oh, Firefly was kidding. All right, thank God. I know that you guys are always because like we're like 3 or 4 seconds ahead, so you guys are always trying to chat fast. Totally fine. So I would never backseat you guys in chat because you know why? Hold on, I'm gonna say it right in the. Everyone makes mistakes. That's why.
Streamers are not allowed to make mistakes.
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah, didn't you know? It's it's a terrible weight being a streamer because we carry the parasocial relationships of hundreds, if not thousands, of people every second of every day, and that's a hard thing to do. It's very hard. So we're not allowed to make mistakes, Bruce. It's like, like police officers aren't allowed to just whoopsie and shoot innocent people.
Well, that's a little different there. I think.
Are you sure? Bruce,
Yeah.
I did say hundreds, if not thousands, of parasocial relationships. Are you going to say that that's different than somebody getting shot to death?
Yeah. I am.
Are you going to sit there and say that that's different?
I am going to say that that's different. Yes, I am.
Oh, well, I don't think it is because of how it affects me and how I feel and how important I want to be. So I think it's
Understood.
exactly the same, which is why every time I get on Twitch, I don't make any mistakes. I spend about an hour staring in the mirror, talking shit to myself, hyping myself up, screaming, flagellating, spitting on the mirror a little bit. So when I come out of that bathroom, I know the stakes, and I'm ready to stream. It's making my hair fall out, and my teeth are loose in my gums.
But You're a great streamer.
But I'm a great streamer.
You're a fantastic streamer, Lawrence, and I've said that about you time and time again. Is that if there's one thing I know about your streams, it makes me feel like I'm your best friend the entire time I'm watching.
Right? That doesn't come for free. Terrible demons assault me every night, but it's just the cost. That's what you and I, Bruce, both do. Carry the weight of the world. I'm so tired.
I've said this. I've said this over and over, but I'll say it again. I am not your friend. This is actually me being very serious. I'm not your friend in chat. We've never met in real life. I am your entertainer, first and foremost. So if you are entertained by the things I'm doing, that's terrific. I love that. That's what I want. I want you to be entertained. I want you to laugh. I want you to think. I want you to cry. I want you to whatever. But I don't want you to think that you're watching because we're friends, because we're not. We've never met in real life. That's very important for you to understand. And I feel like most people in my chat that are, especially her regulars, know that. They know that. So
that's very noble. I offer something different. If at any moment in your life you've ever felt unfulfilled by anything, I promise to fill that void for you in every way.
Okay.
And I alone can do it. That's the important part of my stream,
only you, not other streamers.
Well, Bruce, you too. But you've clearly chosen to not offer that to people.
That's correct. Yes.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe you don't want to do it. I don't know. I'm not here to judge. Seems like if you could fulfill everyone's every last desire, you would. But
what about like sexual desires, Lawrence? Do you fulfill sexual desires for people in chat? You got to be real careful here.
Well, I offer that fantasy, Bruce, which is why I frequently, intentionally don't talk about my girlfriend, because part of the parasocial experience I offer is that yes, I can be that for anyone, at any time, for any reason. All you got to do, pull around the Jack in the Box, honk twice, and you know what happens. All your problems, Darter, I will solve them all, provided you
Lawrence,
sub. You got to sub though.
Lawrence is an amazing. Well, there it is. See, there's the hook. Lawrence is an amazing streamer, and I never realized with that attitude you're going to get to the top of Twitch real fast.
Oh yeah, I'll just give myself away to everybody in every possible way. That's the only way to get popular, Bruce.
Wait a minute, hold on. You can't just be entertaining?
No, you have to be everything to everybody. Yeah, okay. That's it.
All right. Understood.
Have you ever thought about that, Bruce? Like, have you ever thought about if you tried to groom yourself to be the most possibly likable person?
Oh wow.
Yeah. Like I feel like people like Tom Cruise do this, or like The Rock or whatever. They have a carefully groomed public image. And you know for a fact that like there's parts of their lives that they intentionally don't show or silence just to make themselves like more broadly palatable or be more liked by everybody, because that's kind of their job, is to be that person.
Huh.
So I don't know, Bruce. Have you ever thought about becoming Tom Cruise?
I mean, do you think probably early on in Tom Cruise's career he had people around him saying, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this, right? And then that's what established his popularity, and then eventually he can kind of slough all that off and be like, all right, well, now I'm just who I am. I'm a Scientologist, and I'm unapologetic about it.
But he never talks about that. He's always super, super, super cagey about anything personal. And if anyone ever asks him for a personal opinion, he finds a way to not say it. He's very political.
I was going to say, that might just be because... I'm not trying to give Tom Cruise a lot of credit here, but maybe it's just because he doesn't want to talk about it. Maybe because like I have opinions on lots of things, but that doesn't mean I want to share them. Like I want to share them with my friends and family and stuff, but that doesn't mean I want to share them publicly. If for no other reason than because, like we have discovered over and over on the internet, there's not much in the way of nuance. So you can't have a 2-hour conversation about something really serious with 500 people watching because there's no nuance. So instead, I'd rather just talk about it with somebody who is, person to person, open-minded, etc. Like, for example, how I don't believe in vaccines.
Yeah, that might cause problems. If you were to say that, theoretically.
Right, if I was to say that, which I didn't. But if I were to say that,
Somebody's got to get all those stream viewers who don't believe in vaccines.
Well, I'm sure there are lots of streamers that say that. There's got to be a couple.
Nah, they got to get canceled like crazy if they say stuff like that. There's people on the internet who like are really excited to find somebody to yell at for saying that sort of thing. So,
well, maybe you're right.
That can exist.
There's got to be a couple smaller streamers that like are like, nobody get the COVID vaccine because it's 5G and you're gonna die.
Probably. There's got to be a lot of like try hard little junior Ben Shapiro's running around out there, being intelligent. Damn, I almost said. I was gonna bring up something, but I lost it.
Here, hold on.
I got it.
Okay, go ahead.
Bruce, you're talking about like the benefits of age a little bit, things that like patterns that occur to you.
Yes.
One that is still kind of eluding me. I've finally kind of rounded a bend a little bit, but yeah, your suggestion that some people don't express themselves personally because there's just no goddamn point. Yeah. That's something that I felt a little change in me inside, of like the difference between throwing opinions out into the ether just for fun, like kind of kicking the hive a little bit and seeing what happens, or one thing I find that is symptomatic of youth is expressing opinions because you are like kind of secretly craving validation. You want people to agree with you, or recognize how smart or unique your take is. And then once you get old enough, you hear enough opinions, and people still keep saying opinions. At some point, you don't even care about your own anymore, and you're just like, I just don't want any part of this. Like, none of this is valuable or interesting to me. Not having my opinions dissected and dismantled, not having a bunch of other opinions thrown in the mix that I feel like I have to read and empathize with. Yeah, I can definitely see, like, you know what? I know what I like, and I don't really need to share that with the world.
Well, this is something I learned early on. By the way, I was kidding about vaccines.
Yes, Bruce was very much kidding.
I have the vaccine. I'm joking.
He's got all of them.
I have literally all of them. I hated them when I was a child. When I was 5 years old, I have a big scar on my butt because I moved when they tried to put a needle in my. Because I hated shots.
You got asked? Man, I always got them in the arm when I was a kid.
Sometimes they put them in the arm. Sometimes they put them in your butt. But I got one on my butt, a big scar on my butt, because when I was like 4 or 5, I was getting these shots and I moved because I hated them. And I still got the shot though, guys. Anyways.
Now I know where to, like, there's a big target now. If I ever have to give you a shot, I'm going right for that bad boy. I mean, it worked clearly, so.
Maybe they were giving me steroids when I was 5. I never thought about that. Anyways. So back to your age point. I learned early on, I want to say like when I was like 19, 20, that because I had lots of spirited debates about religion and politics and all this other bullshit that you have when you're 20 years old or 19 or 18, whatever, when you know literally nothing. And you have a bunch of debates with your friends. And those debates back then for me, they'd get super bad. They'd turn into like yelling and all this other bullshit you would hurt your friends' feelings and you would see it. Like it happened to me where I would like hurt my friends' feelings and they'd hurt my feelings, and it sucked. And so the more that I noticed this, the more I was like, what's the point of this? Like you said, Lawrence, like I know what I believe. So who gives a fuck if my friend doesn't believe it or does, and so I was like, I'd much rather just have friends. I would much rather just have friends. And if we disagree on something, we disagree on something. Who cares? We're still friends. We still like each other. And I think that was an early thing, like early epiphany that I had back when I was like 20, 21. So
that's a good and early time to have such an epiphany.
Yes, I guess. I wish I'd had it earlier, actually.
Damn. Yeah, I guess for me, I guess I just was way more insecure about my own beliefs, I think. Kind of needed to hash it out.
I was
with
too.
People. Yeah.
No, I was too. I mean, it's just I had those bump ins earlier. So like, when I was 16, I'm sure I would like slamming those beliefs down people's throats because I was insecure about them. But you don't know that shit when you're 16. You're not even thinking about that. You're just thinking about like something you've just learned is now your belief forever.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
That's why it's kind of like the whole school of thought, or this can't be new. Talk radio has been around forever, but like podcasts where people bring up subjects and then just sort of casually come to belief systems, and then the listeners sort of adopt all those things because it's the only. I feel like there's a lot of people who don't have that nonstop internal monologue where they're trying to figure things out with themselves. So when they hear other people do it and come to conclusions that seem reasonable, then it's just like, okay, that makes sense to me. That's my belief now. I feel like that's maybe part of it. I don't know, Bruce. Maybe all of your intellectual sparring really did hone you mentally like a blade, like 1,000 folded Hanzo steel that you use to cleave through the world, and then all these soft-minded pseudo-intellectuals now can't hold a candle to the millennial man that you are.
Well, I mean, again, I don't know. There were a couple specific instances I can think back to in my life that I was like, what the fuck was I thinking? And like, I've even called those people. I called those people, a couple of years after it happened. And I'd apologize because I was like, what was I don't know what I was doing. I'm very sorry. And I have, like, I could think back on those things and be like, what? So I know when I could feel myself getting to that area, as I get older, I know what that feels like. So I know, like, whoa, hold on, scale back. Like, I'm better at it than I used to be, but that's not saying, again, chat, I'm not perfect. So I might fuck up occasionally. But hopefully I won't fuck up as bad as I did when I was younger,
How does that process go? Of contacting somebody out of the blue and apologizing for some shit years ago?
You've really got to swallow your pride.
I meant more like, it's not a question of being willing to do it. I'm just curious about how it's been received for you. Digging up some old stuff just to apologize for it.
Oh, it's always been good.
Yeah?
It has never been bad. There was maybe a couple of, like, I would get some passive aggressive responses, sort of like, yeah, that was really shitty. But I'm doing this because I want to make sure that they know that I was thinking about it, and they know that I feel bad about it. Because I don't want them to go through life being like, man, that Bruce guy's a fucking dick. Like, I want him to be like, like if they had a really bad run-in with me or an experience or whatever, that I at least apologized for it. Shit. And then let me tell you, apologizing years late is bad. Like, I wish I had apologized days later or hours later. But it's better than nothing, I would think. So.
As Stabilized says, someone did that with me, and I couldn't even remember the thing this person said to me a decade plus earlier that caused them to reach out. That's kind of, sometimes I think that, because I have like maybe, two people I think I'd probably owe a pretty sincere apology to. But, I mean, they've probably moved on with their life. And, sometimes I wonder if, like, I get kind of trapped in the headspace of like, well, technically I'm only apologizing so I feel some kind of relief or catharsis. And this person has their own life now. And they don't need some weirdo coming out of the woodwork being like, hey, remember that thing you don't remember? Well, tell me it's okay now. Like, I guess part of me wonders if that's how it ends up going down, or if it's like, one thing that was weird is I actually did reach out to somebody and apologized. And then I was kind of forced to acknowledge that, a whole lifetime has happened since then. Because, we chatted for a bit and just, we were just different people now. So it was kind of like talking to a stranger. So that whatever, I don't know that I was necessarily looking for relief from guilt. I just felt like it was, I kind of had a responsibility to apologize, I guess, is what it felt like. But after I did it, it just felt like two strangers talked about nothing for a little bit. So it's not even like a moral good was served there just because of time. So I don't know. That's why I was kind of curious how it went for you, because I've tried something similar, and the experience was kind of surreal and a little weird, and not necessarily, I mean, fulfilling. I wasn't looking for fulfillment. I don't know what I was looking for. So
I mean, like I said, it's like I don't know that I was ever really looking to fulfill myself with these apologies. This was more for me to let them know that I had been thinking about the way I made them feel. And almost always I get back, thank you very much for saying that. Like, I don't think that there's ever been one time when somebody said, like, fuck off, I don't think it's ever been that. It's always been thank you because you're considering them. And I know when people have reached out to me and done that with me, most of the time I'm like stabilized, where I was like, I don't remember that. Like totally fine, whatever. Yeah, all good. So yeah, I'm trying to think if I've ever gotten any catharsis from it. Weirdly, it's been stuff where I don't like it's. I won't even think about that event for a year or two or whatever. And then later on, for some reason, it comes into my head and I think about it and I go, oh shit, I carried myself really poorly that way. Like I wasn't carrying it with me my entire life or anything. This was just sort of like, I thought about it and was like, thought about it from a different perspective because I had grown up or gotten older or I had more experiences. And then once I had those experiences, it gave me better perspective on what I did in a younger age. So.
Oh, Hannah says it's similar to 12-step programs. You have to apologize to others, not for forgiveness, but to right a wrong. It's more karmic.
That's correct. That's right. Hannah's exactly right. That's what you do in AA. Yeah. And I think that's awesome, by the way. I think that's fucking rad.
It's the best. And kind of Bruce, what you alluded to. I think the process of, like you said, humbling yourself and then also making peace with the fact that yeah, you're not owed catharsis out of it, or processing the fact that you didn't get catharsis out of it, it's that idea of like the utterly selfless act is the one you get no emotional charge out of. It's the one you just do because you have to. Good acts done out of responsibility are the only truly noble ones because you don't get a payoff for it. You just have to do it. So
right.
Yeah, it's one of those things I think. And the humbling yourself aspect is a good growth. I remember there were a couple of, it was like a specific work instance I can remember where that was your advice of basically like, it just takes humility and it doesn't cost anything but humility really. And once I thought about it that way of like, in that specific circumstance, it was trying to pursue a constructive resolution to a problem. And it was one of those like, if all it costs me is pride and time, those are free. And if we can solve problems with that, then why wouldn't I do it? Is kind of where I landed. And this isn't really a problem that needs to be solved if it's like something that's sort of dragging in the back of your head, but I do feel pretty strongly. It was one of the cornerstones of my belief structure early on that like you do good things just because they're the good thing to do, not because you get like an emotional reward or satisfaction out of it. Where that has caused me problems though, and this throws back to something I was talking about before, is when you presume the good thing on behalf of somebody else. That's when it gets really relative. So then you end up doing a lot of stuff nobody really cares about because they're not looking for it.
Oh, sometimes also you'll do something that you think is good but is actually bad. And then and then there's a real dissonance there because when you do that and then somebody doesn't like it, you might get upset.
Oh yeah.
You might be the person who's like, well, wait a minute, I was just being really nice to you. And then they go, that wasn't nice. And you go, oh, fuck.
Or the whole thing where you voluntarily do something and then expect gratitude back for it, even though you didn't tell anyone you were going to do it and you didn't offer it and you didn't. Yeah. There's all kinds of fun little behavior patterns there.
Boy, being a human is hard, everybody.
Messed up. These video games are easy.
Video games are easy. Being a human is very hard.
One thing I've kind of thought about, and certainly this is like, I'm not hardly the first person to observe this, but video games are great because they're so deterministic. Like it doesn't have any of this fuzz. And sometimes I wonder, this is kind of the connected thought, the way that, and maybe I've talked about this on the podcast before, but I feel like sometimes the way that people talk about the creation of video games, sometimes they talk about it as though the creation of video games is also exempt from all those dumb little problems that happen in life. That if you spend your time playing a video game and everything's very deterministic and normal and logical, that the creation of video games is probably also the same way, which is that just
no.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not. But just kind of the vibe I get from, or I've always gotten from the way people talk about video games, is they almost apply the logic of playing a video game to the creation of it too. And I can kind of see that though. If you spend a lot of your time in that world by those rules, it can feel like the rest of the world ought to be that way. I don't know.
Yes,
maybe.
This is a good analogy, Lawrence, because like I was thinking about, I can't believe do people actually think that the creation of video games is like very deterministic, black and white?
I don't know that they think about it really.
Because it's the same with stories. Stories are written where, there's good and evil and there's no gray in between. But those are written by human beings with a bunch of gray. So It's the same deal. Like human beings put stories into those categories, the black and white, good and evil categories, because it's way easier. It's way easier to think about that stuff than it is to think about every single scenario. Where the gray lies. So it's much easier to digest a video game or a movie or a television show or whatever else if there's only a good and evil. If the bad guy is Hitler and the good guy is Chris Pratt,
Good guy's always Chris Pratt.
then it's really easy. But
wait, was Chris Pratt bad guy in Passengers? I didn't see Passengers. He was bad guy, right?
I don't know. I never saw it.
That may have been a spoiler. Sorry, I haven't seen it, so how can I spoil it, right?
I'm sorry. Chris Pratt's Mario, so he's always good.
Can't wait for Chris Pratt to be Mario.
Chris Pratt's Mario.
What are your plans for the night that the Mario movie comes out? What are you gonna do? You have your outfit already planned?
I did. I bought a $1,000 cosplay of Mario.
Oh, sweet. Oh, Bruce,
Yep.
we didn't get the same one, did we? Because I also got a $1,000 cosplay of Mario.
It sounds like we got the same one. Actually,
oh no, they're gonna
about
laugh
this?
at us at Bruce Theater. They're gonna laugh.
I bought Luigi. What did you buy, Mario?
Yeah, about Mario.
Yes. Well, let's go together.
Oh, that was close. You must have known. You probably looked at the $1,000 cosplay of Mario and you were about to click on it, I bet. And you're like, wait a minute. Nope. I know Lawrence is going to buy this $1,000 cosplay of Mario, so I shouldn't. That was a real solid movie, Bruce.
So I instead bought the $1,000 cosplay of Luigi. They're the same price.
Yeah, but one's less popular.
That's right.
Luigi ought to be Luigi's the real hero.
Is he?
Yeah. He's a coward. He's depressed. He's tall. He jumps and he wiggles his feet in the air, and it's really cute.
Oh, that is adorable. He is a hero. You're right.
He's the better one. There, I said it.
I also kind of look like Luigi because he's Charlie Day. So
You think? Yeah, there's a little Charlie Day energy in you.
there's a little bit. I got a little bit of it. I'm a white guy with a beard.
That's all it takes, right?
Yeah, that's all it takes. We're all the same. Lawrence, we made it to the end of the podcast.
We did. What an
did
inspirational quote to end on, too. We're all the same. When we go see the Super Mario Brothers movie starring Chris Pratt as Mario, we'll all be gamers that day.
That's right.
Love it. Oh, we didn't even talk about the expansion pack. Are you going to pay $3,000 to play N64 games?
Wait, how much is it?
It's not that much. See, it's like, somebody brought it up and it doesn't matter. We were about to end.
The expansion pack for the Switch, right?
Yeah,
What are you talking
yeah.
about?
The expansion pass for the online thing, whatever.
For the no, I'm not gonna. Are you kidding me?
You don't want to play Winback?
It hurts me that I give $4 to Nintendo every month for their Nintendo Switch Online service that I never use, but I never touch it. So
But you can play that firefighter game. You can play Breath of Fire. You can play Metroid. Play Metroid? Old
I mean, either
Metroid,
way,
though. Old Metroid, not new Metroid.
they're taking my $4. So
Well, they're about to take $20,000 because it's so expensive. It's really like it's like 50% increase, but it's going from like what, $50 a year to $80 or something like that. It's still the cheapest
okay.
thing, but still. N64, Bruce, it's here. You don't strike me as a big N64 player. Am I wrong about that?
I mean, you are wrong only because I owned it and played the shit out of it when I had it. So yeah, but I played it back then. I don't play those anymore.
Would you say N64 is your favorite console of all time? I'm going to say that for you. That's
a great question.
The last exclusive for our Talk to the Internet Platinum listeners. Bruce's favorite console. People have been asking every month. I don't know if you saw, but they have been. And now
I've
we
never
can
seen
finally
that.
reveal it. Yeah, it's I usually delete all the comments as soon as I see them because I wanted to keep it a surprise until just now.
So I only saw the comments about how I was not. I said the wrong word, alliteration.
Yeah, I left all those. I didn't delete those. So
well, thank
so
you.
you could see it.
Either way, yeah, you know what? Nintendo 64 is my favorite console. You're right. You're totally right. Because I definitely played the most on that console of any other console. Ocarina of Time and GoldenEye are just my fucking jams. So.
Wow, this is some deep Bruce lore. I didn't know this.
Oh, GoldenEye was like, I was inviting people over to my house every weekend to play GoldenEye, like
Sick.
multiplayer, doing the whole deal.
Bruce, what if we got an N64 and a TV and a copy of GoldenEye and a bottle of Grey Goose, and we had us a
All
fucking
right.
we had us a fucking evening of gaming? What about that?
I mean, I'd be in for that. I don't know who wants to watch that because GoldenEye's 45 years old. But,
Yeah, it runs at like 3 frames a second.
and it's really hard to control. But I'll totally do it.
Damn.
You gotta get those fucking Nintendo 64 controllers where you had a little like this.
Yeah, and we
Is
gotta
this
like
thing?
tape up a towel so we can't screen cheat or anything like that.
Well, screen cheating was part of the experience. I feel like screen cheating you had to do, and if you did it,
Oh, Bruce, we're gonna get into an argument right now. We're gonna get into one of those spirited discussions where I end up like leaving the room and walking around in the parking lot in a huff.
Dude, man,
Parking lot,
that sounds like every Halo LAN I've ever been to.
Yeah, just arms crossed, sitting on the curb outside. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm not mad.
Fuck, did you see that snipe? That dude was fucking looking at my screen. He knew I was at Overshield and he did it anyway.
Odd. Todd's always being a dick. Why you play Halo like a bitch, Todd? Damn. This is gonna be a great evening.
Oh man. Yeah, I'm totally, I'll do that forever. But we need to get 2 more people because it's 4 player.
That's true. We gotta have full house. Okay, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Well, thank you all
Well,
very
are you
much
sure-
for listening to the podcast. Sorry, I was trying to put it there.
No. Yeah,
I know you're
wrap
not
it up,
feeling
wrap it
great.
up. No, wrap it up.
Thank you, Nord, for
yeah.
the sponsorship. This was episode 55 of Talk to the Internet podcast, where Bruce and I hang out. I didn't even get to ask you about ghosts. Man, what was I doing?
Oh yeah, that's all right. Ghost hunts. I'm doing one on Saturday and then one on Sunday. The one on Halloween night, Lawrence is going to be part of.
That's right. We're gonna go to Griffith Park, and we're gonna. Oh, I don't know how many ghosts you found yet, because again, I didn't ask. I really biffed it on that one, but we're gonna beat it, Bruce. We're gonna find twice as many ghosts, 2x
So,
ghosts. I'm promising that
does
to
it sound-
everyone right now.
So it sounds like we're going to hopefully find 2 ghosts because
Oh.
we may have only found 1, maybe.
Oh, there's at least 2 ghosts. Easy, no problem. We can do that.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so tune in for that one on that Sunday Halloween night, October 31st for Lawrence and I, and then I'm doing one on Saturday as well with Criken, our man Criken. People were asking where Criken was, and Criken's he's just really busy, and we just can't get him for Talk to the Internet anymore, which is okay. Because I still love him, and he's the best.
He's doing like world-class collaborative interactive projects with world-tier streamers and stuff. Criken is a titan of the industry.
That's
so
right.
we're just out here talking to the internet.
That's right. But, all right. Anyway, sorry. Thanks for listening, Lawrence. Are you doing anything after the podcast?
Yeah, I gotta take a break and make some lunch, but it's Weeaboo Wednesday. Which no one's. I guess people just say Weeb now. So yeah, Weeby Wednesday. I'm gonna be playing more Tales of Arise, which has a lot of fun words in it. It's got Balsefs and Zoogles and Calaglias and
What? Is that fake?
no, those are all real words. And imagine being a voice actor and flipping through a script and you have to say Balsef and Zoogle in the same sentence and not laugh.
That's not fake. Are you sure?
Okay, now I'm not sure, because I've been misremembering them for a long time, but I'm like 99%. Anyway, it's a big anime. There's people that animate each other all the time. It's a good anime time for anime people. So Cowboy Bebop, everybody look Cowboy Bebop, so anime back on top. That's how it works.
Oh, I didn't know that. All right. Okay. But you know that the Cowboy Bebop is live action, not anime, right? Yeah.
Well, give it like 10 years. I'm sure they'll make a Netflix special out of Tales of Arise, right?
Oh wow! There'll be tens of people wanting to watch it. All right. Well, I'm going to take a break. I'll be streaming much later tonight, but I don't know what yet. So
Right on. All right, I'll be back with some anime trash shortly.
yeah. So everybody go to Law Dog's stream. Actually, I wonder if I can hold on. I'll just do it right now in chat.
All right, the stream on my end will go down because I have to switch away from Restream, but I'll be back.
Okay. All right, Gooses, go say hi to Lawrence as he does Weeb Wednesday.
I'll welcome you kindly. We can talk about anime.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.